This next installment in our series on simulation and immersion is on the development of character and being willing to discover it in play. I've saved talking about character creation for a long time, mostly because there aren't a lot of differences between how you prepare characters for simulationist play than any other type of play. I mean, the easiest way to do it is to follow the instructions of the game master and the rule set that you're using for the game. But there is an approach. There are those among us as gamers who like to prepare a fully fleshed out background for the character before the character begins play. And as I've mentioned in earlier clips, this can present some problems. Not because it's a bad idea to know who your character is before gameplay starts, but because it's difficult to draw the line between who they are and what they've done. And there can be times when we create a past for a character that their in-game statistics or abilities or culture or whatever will not actually allow them to experience in play, and this creates a disconnect which interferes with both the immersion and the simulation experience. So, what do we do? The trick is, and it's a small one, is regardless of how experienced a character you're creating, to remember that they haven't been played yet, and that you're going to be discovering the real nuances of who they are in play. We don't have to script these out and then act them. We need to lay a framework for the character, such as what is their occupation, where did they come from, how many languages do they speak. By focusing on very general aspects of how their skills manifest on paper, and then discovering how those skills interact with the rest of the group and with the game world, we can very quickly start to get a handle on who they are. And we can start to take pride in the things that they're accomplishing. For many of us who choose this style of gaming, the idea is not so much to bring forward established character concepts, but more to be open to who the character is becoming. Now, part of this is that, when we started playing, there was very little in the actual game mechanics that dealt with defining personality or even background. As time went on, this appeared, but the style of play remains. The excitement of discovering a character, in the same way that I've been describing discovering story, is very appealing. Where does it come from, exactly? We're not always sure. Is it the same as the last character that was played? Well, sometimes it is. But when it isn't, that's interesting. Where is this character coming from? Why are they doing what they're doing? Do I understand all of the different influences that have caused me to create this character, that enable me to roleplay this character, and that interest me in driving this character forward? These days, of course, there are many different ways to create a character that you'll find in a game system, and sometimes more than one character creation system within one game. It could be something that's purely narrative, like Fate. It could be some kind of hybrid where it involves personality and statistics, or it can be purely statistics. No matter what system, though, if you're going to carry forward with this style of gaming, it is very important to recognize that there is an objective truth in the universe that you're simulating, and so eventually there will be some kind of conflict between a concept and the determination or the resolution of a situation. And so, which one wins? This kind of conflict happens. It's not anyone's fault, but if you've walked into a game with the conception that your character is the ultimate fighter that never loses, over periods of gameplay stretching into months or years, eventually things are not going to go their way unless someone is fudging the dice. No matter what kind of character concept you create, whatever their core skill is, eventually they will fail. If they're not failing, you really have to ask yourself, why not? And if you're in a simulation, failure is going to be a fact of life, just like life. As your character improves, failure will drop into the background, but it's never going to disappear completely. So as you prepare for a simulation and you are creating a character, go through the steps of character creation, keeping the future in mind. Where are they possibly going? What do they think about themselves? And be open to the idea that all of these answers may change. Right? Feel free to script out how many brothers and sisters they have, and what country they came from, and why they had trouble in 8th grade French class or math class or whatever. But don't tie yourself down to this character is XYZ. Right? This character is unstoppable. This character is the perfect warrior, or the quintessential Casanova. Right? Discover it in play. Open yourself to the idea that you can discover your character in play. Part of it will be drawn from you. Part of it will be drawn from characters that you've loved in the past and maybe even forgotten about. Part of it will come from that interesting place inside us all where creation is what? Discovered, unleashed, where creation lives. This brings us to a final piece of advice. If you're considering running a game in a simulationist style, and you're going for immersion, it may not be the best idea to do this with a system that you are just discovering. It's possible, of course, and back in the old days when this is pretty much the only way that we ever played, we didn't have any choice every time we tried a new game. This was the style that we tried it in, but a lot of the complaints about simulation arise from this kind of experimentation. Right? I can't play my character this way because, and that push for the cinematic, or the push for the very narrative style of story is really sourced in this, I believe. So give yourself the opportunity to figure out how the game system really works. Get a feel for it. Run short adventures. Problem solve with it. Take it out for a drive around the block. Kick the tires. And then when you're comfortable, launch your campaign. It'll be the better for it, and so will the characters within it.